Okay. So talking about stress and burnout, firstly, I would like to give a small introduction about what is burnout. So a lot of research has been done on the concept of burnout, and we have had, along with the research, we have had a lot of evidence based on how burnout can affect our daily functioning. So starting with that, the few researches that I have gone through, and then I have tried to define burnout. From that, burnout is defined as a prolonged response to any kind of chronic emotional and interpersonal stressor on the job. The other ones, other definitions by various scholars also talks about this, that is chronic job stress, or the stress which is caused by any kind of occupation that you are in and the interpersonal demands at work. So, in layman language, you can say that burnout is basically when the work that you are doing or your occupation that you have, it's demanding much more than you can provide. So it's demanding much more work, it's demanding much more attention, it's demanding, it's very very stressful, related to the environment that you are present in, related to the interpersonal relationships between you, your boss, your subordinates, everybody who's there. So that is burnout. That is when you have chronic job stress. That is, chronic means something that you cannot avoid. So it's just always present there because of whatever criteria that might be possible. It can be that you have a lot of workload. It can be that your environment that you are in, your boss, your colleagues, they are not supportive to you. You're not able to understand the job profile. You are being demanded much more than you decided to provide, or you have the limit to provide, or your job role doesn't align with whatever they're asking you to do. So all this leads to burnout. Then we go to introduction of stress. Okay, I think more people are joining in. Okay, so this leads to introduction of stress. Stress is what? Stress can be both physiological and psychological in nature. Physiological means that when your body starts reacting to the demands of the external world. That is, you have too much demands of the external world related to your work, related to your interpersonal relationships, related to the emotions that you are feeling, but you do not have the kind of resources to make that demand, to meet the kind of demand that the external world around you is facing. So then there is stress. It can be physiological. Physiological, how? When your body starts reacting to that stress. That means you will have anxiety, that is sweaty palms, you will have severe and very frequent headaches. Yeah, is somebody wanting to speak something? Okay. Uh, Hello. Okay. Are you trying to say something? Okay, I think there is some issue with they have not muted their mic, so we will continue. So what we were saying, that physiological can be symptoms of anxiety. That is, you have sweaty palms, you have severe and frequent headaches, you have, you feel dizziness, you feel tired all the time, you have muscle tension, mostly. So all this is physiological symptoms of taking too much stress. But when we talk about psychological symptoms or psychological responses, it can be emotionally you're not feeling okay. You are not interested in doing the activities that you were mostly interested in. For example, people who have aligned, who are very aligned towards artistic work. So they are not feeling like doing that artistic work. They don't want to put that kind of effort anymore. So that is when you are not able to function properly because it's too much stress. And this stress is actually a part of the burnout that we were talking about. When the stress is too much, there's a point where there is burnout and you just can't function anymore. So this challenges an organism's equilibrium. Equilibrium means homeostasis condition, where that is everything, your emotional state, your psychological state, everything is healthy. But when the demands are more and you are not able to provide the amount of effort that you needed to provide to that demand, then there becomes an imbalance, or there the balance is not maintained. So homeostasis is not maintained, and then you can have these physiological or psychological symptoms of stress. A very important research and the model of stress is the journal adaptation model or journal adaptation skill, which uh, which we actually call in simpler terms as GAS, GAS. In this, there are three stages. Why do we need to understand these three stages? Because when you are facing that kind of stress, you need to understand firstly that in which part or in which phase are you in. Understanding the phase that you are in will help you to also understand that how you have to cope up with that stress, or how you have to understand that stressor. Stressor is any condition which is giving you stress, any problem which is giving you stress. It can be relationship problem, it can be your academics, it can be your job concerns, anything. I'm so sorry, there is um can you please mute your mic? Okay. Yeah. So, talking about the first stage is the alarm stage. Alarm stage is when we talk about the fight and flight response. That is, whenever you're faced with any problem, the first thing that a person wants to do is fight that problem. That is, it's okay, I'm going to overcome it, I will see what the solution is, trying to find the solution. So when you want to fight and overcome that problem, and flight, that is, you want just want to escape it, so you start to distract yourself using your social media, you start, people try to sleep it off. So there are different ways how you want to flight, that is, you want to escape and not face the situation. In those responses, when it has a lot of physiological conditions, that is, you are alarmed, so you are like, your heart rate would be increasing, you would be sweating, you would have heightened awareness. So a kind of anxious response, or that there's a problem now, how, what to do about it? Should I just escape it, that is I flight, or should I fight it? So that is the first thing. Then there is resistance stage. Resistance is when the body tries to adapt to it. So what will happen, that you try, that there's a problem. I understand that there's a problem, but the body attempts to adapt to that ongoing stress and understand that what kind of resources do I have for this stress, and how I can work upon, so that I I can work upon, so that I am able to use the resources that I have to overcome that stress. So, for example, there can be that if you have any relationship concerns, like you and your partner has relationship concerns, first you become very, there's a lot of stress, you're not able to understand what to do about it, but then you try to understand what are the ways that we can overcome this. So you try to talk, you try to communicate. If that does not happen, you go for family therapy or couples therapy. So that is the way you're trying to understand that these are my resources, these are the coping mechanisms that I have for my problem, and how I can overcome this problem. Then there is exhaustion. That is when the organism is not able, if they are able to cope in the resistance stage, they are able to cope with the problem, the stressor goes away or it reduces day by day. But if they're not able to cope up, then what happens, there's exhaustion. That is, they understand that now I don't have any resources and I can't do anything about it, and at this point they become extremely, so the exhaustion phase happens when they're not able to cope with this. So in this stage, the body resources become depleted and they struggle. They don't have that kind of awareness. They don't have that kind of arousal or adaptation to the problem, because now they are struggling with the problem. And so all the resources have been exhausted. That is, they went to couples therapy, and that did not help. They went to family therapy, that did not help. They tried to communicate, that did not help. So now they are understanding that nothing can be done, and this problem is exist, and this relationship has to fail. So exhausting all the resources or everything that can help them. Now we are trying to understand here. We have talked about what is stress, what is burnout, then what are the stages of this stress, and how does that lead to burnout. So I would like to also invite everybody to make it a little interactive session, that if anybody wants to share anything about whatever we have covered till now. I know few of you joined a little late, but if anybody wants to share about whatever we have talked till now, that is, and if they have any questions related to burnout, related to stress. Is there anybody who wants to say something? Okay. So I think Tuhin, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. They said, is there a reliable source for amount of stress one is experiencing? Um, a reliable score, you're saying. Okay, so reliable score, it actually depends upon um the intensity of stress and the problem that you are experiencing. And there are a number of um I'm not sure if you know, but there are a number of psychological scales which are available on stress, in which there are few questions. So it's a questionnaire kind of a thing, and you will start asking questions to people. So it can be questions, they are different, different of them according to the researchers that are there. But the questions are mostly like, do you get extremely overwhelmed when there is a stressful situation? Do you like sleep it off? Do you want to you how do you react to when there's a stressful situation? Do you get anxious? So like there are few questionnaires, and according to that, then every scale has their way of scoring. And according, I am so sorry, I think it got disconnected. It's okay. I hope I am audible now. So yeah, so as we were saying, so there are number of psychological scales, and according to the questionnaires, every scale has their scoring. So when they score accordingly, they will tell you that this to this score is normal stress, this to this score is not. So I can share few of the scales, and on the community, you are a part of the community, and there you will know, because there are a number of them. So which one you like according to the questions, or and these scales are mostly administered by psychologists. So you should not be, there might be a lot of them who are also available online on Google, but their source is not reliable and genuine. So it's better to actually go to a psychologist and get it tested. And accordingly, they'll be able to tell you, and they will also be able to tell you like why this is happening, and how you should like, who should you consult, and where should you visit, and like other reliable sources to help you. So it's better if you go to a professional and get it done. If there are any other questions, we can take that as well. Yeah. Otherwise, I will just continue. If there are any questions, you can type it, or you can also like raise your hands, or you can just unmute yourselves and ask. Um, we will talk about signs and symptoms of stress. There are a number of, like we talked about, there can be physical symptoms, there can be emotional symptoms, there can be physiological symptoms, there can be different types of symptoms that a person experiences when they have stress. The first thing we will talk about is stress, and then we will talk about these symptoms related to burnout also. So when we're talking about signs and symptoms of stress, there is physical symptoms. Physical symptoms, as I told you earlier also, there can be headaches, there can be muscle tension. A lot of people experience muscle tension or pain around this neck area, or around this area, or a lot of headaches like this area. Or they can also have like in their legs and everything, they can have stomach problems. So like it's written digestive problems, so stomach ache and everything. This is physical symptoms. There can be sweating, there can be palpitations. They are sleeping too much because they just don't want to wake up and face the reality of the problem that they have, or the insomnia, that is, they're not able to sleep at all. Changes the appetite, like sleep, they might be having they want to eat too much. Like we talk about stress eating, binge. That is, a lot of people when they're sad, they want to have some junk food, or want to have their favorite dessert so that they feel better. So that, then there are emotional symptoms. As we talked about, these were the physical symptoms of anxiety or being anxious. So yeah, you can have anxiety, you can be very nervous and on the go. That is, you're always thinking about the problem, you're always like, there is some threat to me, what will happen to me, how will I cope up with this. So that there is a lot of restlessness. And when people try to talk to you, you don't want to talk to them, you keep shouting, yelling at them. So there is a lot of irritability, frustration, and that is why there's a lot of mood swings. And when this continues for a very long time, and then you go to professional and you get the testing done, it might be symptoms of depression also. When you are like sad most of the times, your mood is low most of the times, when you're not able to like you're not interested in your day-to-day activities which you used to love earlier. So yeah, that can be symptoms of depression. Then, when we talk about behavioral symptoms, so behavioral symptoms are, as we said, changes in eating, that is, overeating or undereating. Then, a lot of people, when we talk about addiction centers, there, most of the people there are because they wanted to escape through usage of alcohol or drugs or substances from any kind of stress that they had in life. So, yeah, you can take, you want to escape the reality, so you want to do whatever can help you to escape that reality. So then first is that you want to sleep it off, you want to use up substances so that you are in that high, or you are in that level of your brain, that is, you're not thinking about what is going on, you are not conscious, you are in another state of mind, and that is why you're not understanding, or you're not in reality. There can be procrastination. Avoid procrastination means you are avoiding. You are like, ye kaam, there is some work, and you will be like, we will do it tomorrow. We will do it tomorrow. So the things that you actually loved, you would not want to do, and you want to like just be like, it's fine, we will do it tomorrow. So you're just procrastinating. You don't want to stay with people because there's irritability, there's frustration. You don't want to, you're not finding that comfort in being with people. There is no fun in being with people. So you just want to be with yourself in your thoughts. There can be nervousness, which leads to nail biting. There can be restlessness. A lot of people keep shaking their legs, biting their lips or their nails. So that is there. Then cognitive, we talk out, cognition is basically related to your thinking. That is how you think, your problem solving, your decision making, your thinking patterns, your thought patterns, is all which we, in psychological terms, we say cognition. So when we talk about cognitive symptoms, there will be a lot of racing thought, there will be memory problems. So what will happen, a lot of people, they try to repress means they try to, whatever they are feeling, whatever thoughts they have, they try to just repress it. That is, they try to just put it in their unconscious mind. That is, so that they are not very awarely or in conscious mind thinking about those problems again and again and again and again. And a time comes when they're not able to remember those important points or important things of their life, because they have repressed it so much in their unconscious. And till the time they are not able to have that flashback or see some memory which is related to it, they will not be remembering it. There's difficulty concentrating, they become very negative. So they are like, no, you are not worthy of anything, you're not able to do anything, you are just miserable. So you keep like talking negative to yourself. You worry a lot about the future. What will happen next, how will I survive, how will I like, because I'm not able to do anything, how will this happen, I will not be successful. So that negative thinking, that pattern. So when we talk about cognition, there is a negative thought pattern that happens, that you think about, this is the problem, then this is happening, I am not worthy of myself, I can't do anything. So there's a circle of negative thinking that keeps on happening, which happens with a lot of people. And for that, we use cognitive behavioral therapy. That is, we try to restructure that negative thought pattern with positive thought patterns, and we try to give them few behavioral activities, so that which can help them in having a positive self-talk from that negative self-talk. So there is dialectic therapy, there is CBT, that is cognitive behavioral therapy, there is REBT, where the emotions are also involved. There are different types of therapies that professionals use for this negative thought pattern, which is leading to stress. Then we talk about burnout, as we had talked about, that when the stress is too much and when you just all your resources are depleted, then you go to a level of burnout where, as you can see, this photo also depicts, that is, they just don't know what to do anymore. So it's just um it's over for them. It's like that. So burnout symptoms can be physical exhaustion. That is, you have extremely low energy, you have these very frequent headaches, back pains, digestive issue. And we also talked about this in stress. But here the difference is that this is too much. That is, it's unbearable now, and you are not able to actually do anything about it because you don't have that level of energy. So here professional help is very important. Emotional exhaustion. Emotional exhaustion would be, that is, feeling emotionally drained, or that is, you have thought about it, you have tried to feel this stress, the feelings which are related to stress, that is feelings of guilt, feelings of remorse, feeling of regret. All these things are so related to it, that is, you become numb. You can't feel anything anymore. So even if something good happens, you're not able to feel the happiness. Even if something bad happens, you're not able to react appropriately to the situation. Reduce performance, obviously, if there is so much stress related, you will not be able to do when do we know that some problem, that is when you're facing some concern, the when do you understand that you actually need professional help? The one very big thing when you understand that you need professional help is that you can't do your day-to-day functioning. That is, you are not interested in doing activities that you were interested in. You are not able to do your job. You're not able to do your academic work. You're not able to study. That is, your emotional well-being and your emotional functioning is being affected. Then there is signs and symptoms of burnout. The second part, which is about interpersonal problems. That is, there is, because you're not obviously able to work, have day-to-day functioning, you have problems concentrating, you are not able to give that kind of performance which you were giving earlier. There is conflict with colleagues. There is, you become very impatient. You're not able to like communicate to them well. So there is, the relationships become strained. And because when all this will happen, you will not be very satisfied with the amount of work or the kind or the quality of work that you are doing. So you feel stuck and trapped in your career or in the current life situation that you are in, and you just want to go out of it, but you are not able to because you're not able to think properly. You're not being able to be rational. You're not able to be positive about the situation and not fight it because you don't have any energy left and you're facing such psychological or physiological symptoms. Then there's cognitive impairment. Again, we talked about cognition. So again, brain fog means when there are too many, how do you say fog? Fog means when you can't see anything. So brain fog means when there are so many thoughts together in your head that you can't think about one thing, or you can't understand what is going on. You are just so crowded by your thoughts. That means brain fog. Again, which we talked about, memory problems. That is, you have repressed it so much, you have become so numb and indifferent that you can't remember a lot of things because you don't want to think about that past. So there is you can't do that problem solving, you can't make proper decisions, you can't have proper judgments about your life, that what I'm doing is wrong. How do I have to overcome this problem? What should I do? How should I seek help? So these, when I'm talking about these signs and symptoms of stress and burnout, to help you understand that when you're facing such situations, a lot of people get very afraid. They don't know what to do. They think they have some psychological problem. So or they have some physical problem. Mostly people, especially in our country, people don't understand mental health concerns that much. Now things are changing, but they don't till still people are not that knowledgeable about mental health. That is why we are doing such workshops, so that people can have that kind of awareness. So through understanding these signs symptoms, they can understand that it is not a physical problem. It might be you might have to go and get it checked by a doctor, but it can also be that there is some stress that much that you're not able to take it anymore, and you want to seek professional help. That is, go to a counselor, go to a therapist, go to a clinical psychologist, and get your check done, or get that counseling sessions done. Yeah. So then we will talk about coping. We don't have a lot of time left. So all the questions that you have, you can just jot it down. And then for all the questions, we'll have another session where we will record all your questions and we will post it so that it's helpful for you. Coping mein, I want to let you know that you can have coping in terms of, as I said, you can seek professional help. Along with that, you can do mindfulness techniques. For example, you can do yoga, breathing exercises. One very important breathing exercise is a square or 4 by 4 breathing exercises where you count by 4 and you breathe in through your nose, counting 4, and then you stay there by counting 4. Then you breathe out from your mouth counting 4, then you take a 4, then you count 4 and take rest and then do it again. So you can do that like 10-15 times whenever you feel anxious, or in the morning when you wake up, or before sleeping. That will really help you. Then self-care, that is doing some kind of journaling, taking a walk, then doing anything that you like to do. For example, yoga, exercise, what I just talked about, or just cooking. A lot of people, that is having some kind of hobby where you are away from the everyday stress that you are facing, and actually doing something for yourself, for your benefit. Setting boundaries, saying no, that is when you can't do everything. You need to understand that you also have limitations as a human being. And practicing that if somebody tells you to do something that you're uncomfortable with, you don't like, you don't think you will be able to do, that is in a job, if you think that is not your role, then you need to say no. And by saying no, you're not hurting anyone, but you are just making them understand that this is not your job role and it's nothing wrong with it. Then positive thinking, that is every day doing such exercises where you look in the mirror and tell yourself that whatever you're doing, wherever you have reached, you have done a lot, and in future also you will be able to do. You are proud of yourself. So giving that positive self talk to yourself, and then creating that positive work environment where you are able to communicate properly, where you are able to like if you think that there are a lot of things in to do in one day, then you are making a list of all the things, then you're prioritizing so that you can manage your time well. Then seeking help, if there is anything, there is no age and no shame in learning. So seeking help from your supervisors. If you think that the environment is not good, then taking help from your seniors. If that is not happening, then looking out for other alternatives or options. So this is something that you can do. And if there is anybody who has similar concerns and who is facing, you can check out Quiet Peaks, and you can schedule a session with me. I will be able to help much more, because this is just a 40-minute session, but much more in individual counseling. We'll be able to talk and help you personally. So thank you so much. We have very few time left. If there is anything that you wanted to ask, you can let us know. You can write your questions and you can send it, and I will do a Q&A session, which will be recorded and sent to you. So thank you so much. I hope this was helpful for everybody. Now you all can leave the session. Thank you so much.